What is this, you ask? Well, doing some Mario making this morning. Would you be interested in some Mario making this morning? Hey, my level is starting to finally take form. You know, the last stream of like making, the level was still in a very early state. It was kind of in flux, and I think now I'm very much getting to the point where it is starting to take form as an actual level. The first screen is done, and I have often found once the first screen is done, you know, we now know like what exactly a screen of this level looks like. The second screen will form more naturally, using that as a basis for as a point of reference, etc. You know, and after that, who knows? There's dozens of other screens that might form one after another, considering that we have considering what we have on hand, you know, considering how this goes. And that's sort of what I want to do today. I want to go over each screen, screen by screen, if you will, and discuss what I want it to do, and then like build it. And I'm gonna start by explaining my thought process behind the first screen, which will be a pretty simple thing, considering that it's already built. And you know, I'm gonna look at some other levels real fast in my repertoire, in my super world, sort of explain where exactly I'm coming from when I say like what exactly I want it to be. You know, something in line with the other levels in my super world that have similar such first screens. One second, I'm gonna grab my controller. Okay, here we go. Now, first screen. Let's talk about that before we get into like subsequent screens. Now, I know that last stream I did show off this first stream, this first screen, and also it has been I did post it to Twitter. I did think X, the everything platform. I did think for a second at that time when I posted that to X, the everything platform, that I maybe should post it to Blue Sky as well, but it turns out Blue Sky doesn't have any video upload at present, so that clip was right out. That's a thing that Blue Sky, hey, Blue Sky gets video clips, what the fuck? Be very good. Anyway, let me just go over what I was looking for the first screen. So the first screen, I knew I wanted to be a very simple, pretty much a one screen starting screen wherein you get a basic introduction to the level. You know, basically the first part is going to be a vertical subworld. So that in mind, I need to use a single screen of real estate and use it as fast as possible and get you to where you're going like pretty quick like. That in mind, I looked at other examples of that I have in my super world, some one screen starters, and thought about it, you know, as you do, and thought about what exactly they did and how exactly they did it. So I'm just gonna pull up like a couple of them just in the level, in like the thing that shows you like the layout and stuff. We'll talk about like the design therein. First one to look at is Grand Gully 4, which is a very, very simple design. It's just a little tree, and then there's this guy that makes a platform lift up into the air, and it kind of looks like the tornado is doing it. And then you jump up and go through a door. It's a very simple room. Jump, jump, jump. It just introduces a concept that you're going to be doing platform stuff and gets you to a door like right quick. And the reason why this is done here is just because this level is going to be is primarily a right to left level. So, you know, you have to reverse the direction right away so that the so that the level can proceed as it's designed, you know. So basically, was looking for something like that, or something like this, you know. This is another example of the one screen start in this case because the level loops around on itself. Um, it's just a very simple jump on some guys, and then you go through a pipe that's sort of embedded into the ground. Very simple, and yet very striking, you know. That's sort of what I was looking at here and looking for inspiration for. Something I knew based on these levels and based on, like, my experience as a maker, that it needed to be simple, it needed to be well themed, and it needed to be striking. Also, if possible, introduce the main mechanic. Or do something interesting with a power-up. You see, this one is an example of doing something interesting with a power-up. Having it so that these bullet bills sort of threaten the power-up directly, even though it's right at the start. It is a little bit dangerous to get, which, you know, this is from, like, the second world, so things ought to get a little tougher. Makes sense. This new one, of course, is in the 8th world, so ought to be more threatening than that. I'll show just, like, one more of these, just as a little example. Again, the actual platforming here is not complicated. You know, it's a very small space. All you do is jump and go through a pipe. And yet the geometry here is complicated, is like detailed, and I think is I would say iconic in a way. You know, it's recognizable, which I think is good for a level to be, so that you when you return to it, or you know, the time you spend in it is not just immediately forgotten, even if you are only here for a second. It like has a distinctive shape to it. That in mind, this is what I landed at for my next level. I could show off more of these, but you know, I think we get the point. We get the point. Here's what I landed at for Ripsaw Rainbow, next level of my super world. Here is the first screen of that. Starts off with a guy coming down at you, and you have to, you know, take him out and steal his cart before you get any further. Then you fly up. There's a bunch of, like, rainbow debris in the sky up here, sort of, like, boxing you in, as well as some ripsaws that are going up and down, which I think look really cool. And I want to try to see if we can do more with the ripsaws going up and down as synchronized as possible. Now, that's going to be harder after the first screen, because, you know, synchronization in Mario Maker, it's not so clear, but basically what we have here is a very simple start. It takes about 10 seconds tops, and, you know, gets you to the next place. Introduces the idea that you're going to be doing a bit of flying, at least in the first half, and makes you steal a clown car before you do it. I think that's a bit of fun. And also, hey, you got this rainbow, this pipe rainbow in the right half of the screen, sort of like boxing the action in. That's a nice little introduction of the theming of the level, as well as being relatively simple. Okay, I think that covers the first screen. It's a good first screen. There's also this mushroom, which is a little challenging to get. I have thought maybe the mushroom could be a 10 coin or something instead, but I think for now, let's stick with mushroom and go from there. Now then, for the second screen, let's start talking about the second screen and my intentions therein. For the second screen, there's another level we ought to look at, which is the other level here where flight was involved. I should do it from Torse World, so I'm not, like, so I don't, like, get the maker thing out of, loading, words. Smokestack Attack was the previous level I did, what was a flying level. And, it was sort of the opposite of this current level, where it became a flying level in the second half. And also it was a a fire clown car rather than a regular clown car. And you never had to steal one either. None of the enemies had clown cars of their own in this one. But in this one, it was a very simple transition from, like, going into the subworld. You jump on a guy, you climb a thing, which is just literally just there to make sure that you can't take Yoshi into this section. You go here, you climb a thing, and you jump into the clown car, and off you go. While this is good, and I think it works very well for this level, for this next screen, the second screen, I want it to be a little more involved. Since in the first room here, you get right into the clown car, like, before you do anything else, I want to delay getting into the clown car by at least a screen or two, when you first get into the subworld. So I was thinking, start you over on the right, make you platform over to, like, here, maybe go up some, and then you can get in the clown car after, like, going through one screen and maybe 1.5 screens or something like that. The other thing I was thinking is that I could drop the player from, like, a high height, and I was wondering if that's gonna cause... Let me get rid of these for now. Start getting rid of things that we don't need as of yet. Okay. I was thinking I could drop the player from a high height and have them drop for, like, a second or two or three. You know, maybe go past some, like, rainbow stuff that is just a little bit discordant as they're dropping. A little bit of, like, rainbow wreckage, that sort of deal. The larger idea of this level is going to be it's sort of a construction site where they are demolishing this rainbow, ripping into it with these ripsaws, so that explains, like, the ripsaw and the connection between the ripsaw and the rainbow, why it's called Ripsaw Rainbow, and gives us something to work with. You know, rainbow debris can be an obstacle, can be, like, blocking the player off from places they want to go, you know. I want to see if we drop the player, will the saws on this side of the screen all be more or less synchronized the same way that first screens were? If so, that would be really, really handy. That end, let's do a test. Just as, like, a first thing. And then we'll start, like, making an actual doodad, you know, an actual first screen, or an actual second screen here. Not sure, like, how big of a drop would be appropriate, would be fun. Though I do know that, you know, the longer the drop is, the more saws can be synchronized, you know? But also, like, those saws could, like, stop for a session and only resume after, like, after a long enough gap where you wouldn't know, you wouldn't be able to tell how they're synchronized, so, you know, we can easily do something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and just... I'm gonna drop the player over here. Let me drop from a high enough height where everything is, like, coming in at the same time. I don't know if it's gonna work where they have to be, like, within a screen. Okay, they clearly were not synchronized there. They might have to be within, like, a screen. Within, like, the screen in order to actually spawn. Left or right. You know, I think I had, like, similar stuff with that last flying level. You know, where, there's definitely enemies and stuff that spawned when you were moving from, like, one screen to the next. I can't tell if these are like... They're not very well synced. They're at least off by a little bit, each of them. But I can't tell if they're like... These ones are entirely opposite, and they're just as far apart as like these ones, which are more synced. No, this is definitely based on how fast I'm flying upwards, even after a fall. Okay, so unless I'm doing the fall like in the middle or so, which is possible, we could do a fall. It could do something like this: fall through the middle, and then you know, maybe platform a little to the right, platform a little to the left, etc. You know, route the player that way. But I don't know. I feel like maybe at this point, better to just like pop the player up from the bottom. Let's go with that for now. Let's go with just pop the player up from the bottom. We'll have it so that they're coming out of a green pipe. We'll reverse the pipe height here, make it so that the green is the lowest. Let's go from there. Make it a little bit separated here on the subworld. And very good. Let's see, what next? Should it be... The rainbow is going up this way on the other side. But that doesn't have to be like... It doesn't have to be quite aligned same way on in the subworld here. So I do want to have some sort of like... Now would be a great time for a 10 coin. Do some sort of 10 coin where the player has to get up here real fast. What exactly could that be? Jumping over a saw that's pretty challenging to do. That seems good. Move this over. Move this over. And yeah, put like another pipe going like this way above it. Make a sort of a slightly awkward situation to jump into and to jump out of. Okay, let's try this on for size. Not bad. Little adjustments here. Move that over. What happens if you're big? How does that feel if you're big? One thought I have is, fuck the height difference. Just start you off like this, and we can have this one be low or something. They don't have to be the exact same in the overworld as they were in the subworld. Move that over like this. There we go. That's a little more natural. Perfect. Just a little bit of a difficult jump there, just for the fun of it. You know, wait, on the other side, it wasn't like this. It was a blue pipe. Yeah, that looks good. And we can have something like this. sort of hovering in this space. Hey, Lord Bowser. I just made the first new part of this level. Yes, that's right. I did try doing some stuff where I dropped the player, but it didn't really work to sync things up. So instead, having you come right out of the pipe and have a little bit of a situation here where you can jump and get a 10 real fast after you come out, which I think seems pretty cool. Next, need to have some sort of enemy appear. You're making 6T today? Fantastic. Good, happy to hear it. We've already introduced, like, 2 of the enemies, or I say 2 of the enemies. Hey, Marty Moo 17. Doing some making this morning. We already introduced this guy, the Spike in a cloud car, which is going to be a big part of this first half of the level, and also all these saws, which are going to be a big part of the level as well. So maybe right now would be a good time to introduce another enemy. Let's see now. What exactly enemy would be good? Oh, I have considered doing some of these. Some like, just some fuzzy beetles walking in a line. We can easily have, like, a whole group of them just walking at you as soon as you're coming out of the pipe. Pretty much. Simple enough little thing. And you know what? Because they're big, there can totally be, like, a hole that's big enough for Mario to fall down, but not big enough for them to fall down. I also want to make it so that if you go and do that optional thing, they don't, like, fall off and die, basically. So maybe they'll be, like, somewhat of a blocker. In fact, let's have them be walking on a rainbow platform. We need to use some actual fucking goddamn rainbow platforms here in this level. That's, you know, about rainbows rather than just the fake rainbow platforms of you know, pipes. Okay, let's see how this feels. If they're just like there and they're coming out, will they spawn at all at the same time? That's my question right now. I don't know if they'll spawn at the same time. Three of them did. 3 of them did. That can be resolved. Just have one of them be right here. Is that threatening enough? Or is this too... like, just too easy, I guess is the question. Let's have it be 2 rainbows, maybe? This might be too easy. Let's try this a couple times here. Can I just, like, start right here? No. I'll add a platform here for now. Again, usually you'll have to steal a thing, but for testing purposes, let's start off right here. Well, it is easy, but that can be fixed. Hey, just do something like this. Something like this makes it a little bit of a thing. A little bit of a thing to get around. A little bit of a thing to get over. Just a single saw here. If it's going up and down, is it better if it's slightly higher or slightly lower? Slightly lower means that you have to go under like this. That's kind of cool. Feel like, in this case, this should be longer. And maybe you should go under another rainbow. Let's make this lower so you're sort of encouraged to go over, perhaps. Maybe under is better. Let's see how this feels going under. Well, I think it's maybe more fun in this case to have it so that you kind of have to go under. And make it not such a low ceiling, but somewhat of one. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Put some arrows here. A little bit of a quick coin arrow. Telling you where you need to go. Always a fairly good idea. Let me see now. Should this be long enough where the guys are occasionally not going to be filling it up one way or the other? So after you get like the 10 or something, lower this by 1. Make this slightly easier to jump. Is this also too tricky for the first time you're seeing this group of enemies? Maybe. Let's make this a little bit more easy. Make it so that it's pretty much just... Now, I'm not quite sure yet. How about if you have to jump over, like, one of them? Like, to get onto this platform? Have to jump over one of them to get onto the platform, so it's a little bit dangerous then. But in a slightly different way than like, and then those guys are just there to be slightly annoying, but not that annoying. Maybe something like there. Okay, let's try this. Jump over here, jump over there. Move this up by 1. It's a little weird as is. And move this like, maybe over 1. Let's try over and down by 1. Okay. That feels pretty good. I'm able to go under and, like, really bounce on these guys, despite the saw being there, without it being too dangerous, while still being, like, somewhat scary. I think that's a good, like, balancing act there. Just add one more No, not one more here, actually. Instead, have it so that there is a little bit of a ceiling insofar as another one of these rainbow bands. It's like the full thing that you're sort of passing under. Roy. G. Biv. Go ahead and sort of make it look like it's been carved out a little bit. Will those be synced? Will this second one be synced, or do we have to like stop with the stalls for a second in order to like have these ones be like relatively close? Here. Nope, they're synced. Very good. Okay, I think I like this as the first screen, the second screen of the level. Let's talk about, like, the third screen, I guess, which will be this screen right here. The emphasis here will be to have somewhat of a... I want to have somewhat of a big jump that you have to do. Big jump over to here. Maybe another jump over to here. Bit of, like, platforming over, like, you know, pits and shit. Until you get to the point where you can jump into a thing. Maybe also have it so that when you get here, there's some guys coming at you, but not guys you can hijack, just fucking, just like some... Maybe raise this up by one. Some guys in, like, clown cars... what are coming after you. I almost want to raise this one, but I feel like the danger is better. Feels a little bit more scary if it's, like, lower. Raise... Let's do this. Do a little bit of this, and make this yellow. Make this like a little bit more rainbow debris, as I've said. And have it so that, Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Alright. Make it so that there's a little blue platform over here. Some green as well. Make this the other way. More like this than the other way. Have it so that we got these big lava bubble guys sort of like flying up at you from the pit here. These guys will be a big deal in the second half of the level, so good to introduce them now. Get a bit lower, and let's try it on for size.
Here I go! Here I go!
Oh, and I guess I would need to remove this to really test the green platform. Whatever, you know. We fly through there, we go through the pipe, come out over here. Tiny bit of on-foot stuff. Some guys start flying up. That seems pretty good. My only note is, like, actually make this higher. Make this higher. That makes it a bit scarier. Make it higher and also add, like, another layer of pipes here. Okay.
Here I go!
And they seem to work pretty well. And like, continue to chase you, which is perfect. Do another jump over a void here as these guys like chase you upwards. Fantastic. Let's add some coins. We'll add some coins like here as well as here. And finally you'll get up to here. Have like a nice little coin field here. And this seems like the perfect time to actually get you into a clown car. I feel like this is enough space. I feel like we've done enough here to... such that we can, like, start with the actual clown car that you will fly in. Okay? How exactly is this gonna work?
Here I go.
Let's add, a quick saw over to this side, so that if you fall, it's, you're gonna take damage. I feel like if you fall here, you should take damage, even if the theming is, you know, otherwise. Even if the theming makes it so that this fall is not lethal, it should still be, like, the next best thing to, it should still be punishing, I'll say. Also, take this and move it one over. That looks good. Make this one... should there be coins across this pit to sort of encourage you to jump over? Like, as such? Let me see, how does that feel, having those coins there? I feel like the coins here are almost encouragement enough. A coin trail like this is good insofar as just like, yeah, you know, making sure the player knows they can make that jump, hopefully without spending too much time. I should consider what happens if the player lollygags a bit and like really mulls over the jump before making it. Also, you know what, that is just a little bit tight. Let's make it a little bit less tight just by moving it down 1 unit.
Here I go.
Also, I do notice that if they lollygag, it's gonna be more difficult. Much more difficult. I think I can adjust that a bit by changing the order of those, making it so the closer one is a bit lower. That will slow down their ascent a bit. Ooh, causes it to get jammed. Does that help?
Here I go.
That does help. Move this over 1 and up 1. Make it a little bit more accessible.
Here I go.
I don't want the mandatory jump here to be harder than the optional jump for the 10 coin. That just don't make sense, you know? Okay. Now then. Now that they're here, I think I would like to have... I can have this be 1 shorter, without it being, like, lower or anything. If there's a clown car right here, can the player jump into it and start the flying section? I don't think so. Well, they can, but it's gonna be a little unintuitive. Can it be like a sideways pipe that has it? No, that looks weird. Instead, have it so that there's another. They're like jumping across here one last time. And of course, because of these saws, I say of course, it would be difficult to like fly the thing back and do some stuff over here. That said, I will put in some more of that rainbow debris just to like rule out that. Just to like render that all the way impossible. We'll like make it a little bit erratic. Should be green. So that it like looks well themed. But ideally you wouldn't go back here. And if you do, you're just wasting your time. I think you wouldn't be able to like jump from if you got like to here, right? You wouldn't be able to like jump up. If you got to here, could you jump? Yeah. Actually, let's see. Make this like... I want to make this like look good if you were to fly over here, but also make it so that you can't, like... Okay, good. That's totally safe. In fact, that other place, even if you flew over there, you wouldn't be able to get up there anyhow. Same problem. Wait, maybe you can. If you, like, sort of jam yourself in there. Just so. Also, it might make a difference if you're big or small. Yeah, I think this looks pretty much foolproof to me. I don't think there's any getting up there. Honestly, I don't even think there's any getting up to the other side either. Let's just make sure. Hang on. Oh yeah, you can totally get up to there. Add one red pipe there. It's like a really short one, maybe. Just one like this, and that'll make it impossible to get up this way. Just end this one like shortly after. Again, this rainbow is under demolition, being fucked up. Put another one right here. Another little coin trail. I think I like shorter one here. Have it so that it's a little over, so it's not like all that close to this part, which you got coins here. Have a little bit of a coin field here for you to jump around in. As the guys are coming up. Jump around, get them, and then go over here and fly. Cool. Next. I actually want... Alright, that's, I think this constitutes the third screen of the level. I think now we're 3 screens in. Hey, that's pretty good. Next, let's build out a little bit of the first the first flying section. First flying section here. I have an idea, which is why I'm doing a thing. I want to do another one of those rainbows. That's like, let's get rid of this. This is not it. Neither is this, and neither is this. Okay. I want to have here another big rainbow turn. Where there's just like a big... big pipe rainbow here. Going to the side. Have it so that you will fly sort of, you know, like through this, this part here. And you know what, we'll put some saws as well. Goes with the theme and all, you know. We'll have it so here, you're flying through another rainbow thing. I don't know that I've ever run... I'll say, my one worry as I make all these big pipe rainbows is that there's gotta be some sort of limit on pipes, right? I am a little worried I might be like, that might be a concern. Then again, these pipes are very big. They take up a lot more real estate than, like, a block would of a similar size. It might be 100% fine. You know, make it a little bit unruly there. We might not have to worry anything about such capacity. You know. Perfect. Okay. Just have a little bit of a pipe thing. And we'll probably do what we did in the previous part and have it so that there's another rainbow like coming out of the side here. And this one goes the other way. So if it was these rainbows, you'd be looking at something like this, where the red is on the left side, and here it's on the here it's on the left side, here it's on the right side. That's basically what this is. These pipes, this pipe situation is just this on a larger scale. That said, I will take a chunk out of theming purposes. I will take a chunk out of the right side here. Again, the thing is being destroyed. Maybe like taking these chunks out. It's possible that taking these chunks out would be the theming thing that I would have to undo eventually, if space were a concern. If like pipe usage were a concern. I don't know. Alright, now we have like a shaft here, basically, that the player will fly up through. We can have it so that these are a little bit, these two rainbows are a little bit like, offset. So it's clear that, like, in this demolition process, they've gotten, like, sort of fucked up a little bit. Move this over a bit. Make it so you sort of have to fly a little bit to the side here to go through. And we'll put in some, like, coin trails that are like this as you, like, thread the needle. let's try this on for size.
Here I go.
These guys are coming after you. Okay, that's a little bit... This jump is just a little bit awkward. Instead, let's make it a little bit easier on the player. Make it so that this is not... the second jump is a lot simpler. And they don't have to worry about... they don't really have to worry about making a jump while under duress quite as much. In fact, I'll make this a bit easier even. Make this a little bit easier by making this platform a little wider.
Here I go. Here I go.
Get over here. You jump up here. Tell you what, I think we can stall these guys by having these guys be a little bit over to the side. Also, I'm going to move this over so that guy doesn't get... Well, actually, if they're over to the side, he's not going to get jammed under there, I think.
Here I go.
Try that. Over by 2, and make it so that they connect like this, and move this over to here. Okay. Maybe this could even be like a... We can extend this out a bit, actually. Let's do that. I'm gonna move this up by 4. We can extend this section just a touch. Move this all up by 4. And this will make it so that you'll be able to get a little more breathing room on those guys just by jumping up through some semi-solid platforms. One, 2, 3, 4. And we'll add like a second. We'll add like a second one here. Have them sort of like layered like such. There we go. That's very nice. Look at that. Move this around a bit. And I don't like how this coin trail overlaps with that a little bit too much. Yeah, then put that there, and then lower that by 1, and there we go. And put this... Put a little bit of a coin thing here. And let's fuck around here. We'll put a 30 coin right here, so as to dare the player to like do a little bit of a maneuvering around these guys. Let's see if that works. Is it too soon for another coin? Man, I usually put a lot of these in here. This seems like a pretty fun little challenge. I think I like that a lot. I think that's very cool. In fact, let's pump that up to a 50. Fuck it. No, it's not that hard. It's just a little bit out of the way.
Here I go.
It's Pretty good, though.
Here I
If those guys end up going above the platform, they're a little bit of a nuisance. If you want to do that whole maneuver. Can it be just like a simple thing? If it's that simple, it's not even a thing. You just like sway over a bit, grab it, and you don't even have to go under those guys. I really like this right here. It does make things pretty difficult with these other guys here. Add one more height here. Maybe add like one more height here. Move this up by one. And more like this. One height here probably will make a pretty significant difference in how it feels. That seems pretty significant. We can probably make this first, like, flying part simpler, honestly. Like, just have it be flying through a little bit of a gap here in the pipes. Maybe with, like, one saw here. And, on the other side, one saw. Another saw. Yeah, that looks good. And just add a bit of a red pipe here. Make it a whole red pipe that goes all the way from side to side. And, yeah. That as well, and let's try it out.
Here I go.
One little change here. Remove one of those. Make it so that, you know, you don't have to go all the way to the side to get all the coins there. Encourage the player to be a little bit more free with those. Pop down here. Lure these fuckers down. And head up. That's pretty good. I am still concerned about these guys, like, potentially getting stuck up here. Those other guys. Like, let's lure them up there and actually let them get pretty well jammed up here. Like, yeah, you really would have to lure them to get the space here. One thing we can do, actually... Okay, I think I might have something here. Make it so there's a little bit of a displacement here. Have a slightly lower blue pipe. Like, for these last couple of... For like, this space. Right here. And we don't need the saw on the side. Let's just do the saw over here on the left. And, yeah, we'll put, like, a little bit of a coin path here. Nice and around. This, and add, one up here. One thing that we do have to be concerned about is that these saws and shit are going to eat up the item limit. But I don't know. So long as we're like being conservative with like how they're placed and not like spamming too many of them, it ought to be good. This is Ripsaw Rainbow. There have to be some Ripsaws here and there. Right. And because this is here now, those guys can't really, like, get above the rainbow and start jamming up, like, this part here so easily. I think that's pretty good. We have now the, fourth screen, I guess. Ooh. That is a hell of a lot of progress for like, for like an hour. And now, hey, we're in the flying part in earnest, which I'll tell you, I do want to have. Let's talk about, now that we're in the flying part, what that's gonna look like. I want there to be a good amount of like enemies flying at you that you have to deal with by jumping out of the clown car. That is why earlier I introduced the spike in a clown car, because I want to have it so that some of them are flying at you in sequences, and if you want to deal with them, you'll have to do stuff like that and jump out, and I think that's a bit of fun, really. The only question I guess I have is like, okay, well, let's be real here. They don't really have to do that. At least the way this is designed, right? Because you just fly around them and, you know, they're gone. You know. What can we do to encourage the player, force the player to engage with these guys? Make it so that they have to, like, fly to the side or something? Would that make a difference? Let's try some things real fast, and then we'll,
Here I go.
I want to try some things, see what they... Okay, so that does...
Here I go.
Making it so that the player has to deal with an enemy on the side does force you to do some business, but also that does cramp your style too, and there's no way that I know of to like signal to the player that like you need to be on that other side. I guess I could put some coins or something, you know. There could be some coins like leading past these guys. See how that looks. Oh, you know what? Simple, obvious thing I can do. Put like a little bit of a arrow, point arrow. Perfect. That pretty perfectly illustrates like, hey, you won't be able to do stuff on this side. That can even help out with some like pipes that are you know, blocking off one side, more or less. I think this one blue, this one green, and then this one yellow. Alright. Go fly. These guys. And get really screwed by these low ceilings. No, this doesn't work. In fact, I don't even think that necessarily, like, this would really work. It's gonna be a bit of a tricky one, I think, to work out, to direct the player, to give them the clues they need. Huh. Let's do some more experiments for, like, the sky area, and try to figure out, like, what other enemies would work well during, like, a sky section where you don't have the ability to, like, use fireballs. I'm already having the buzzy beetles for, like, other parts of the level, but jumping piranha plants are a good idea. Those would work. Feel like we need one more enemy for this flying section to really, like, take off. Bloopers? Bloopers might work in a similar way to how these guys, like, float around. A blooper situation could force the player to, like, you know, go in a different direction. Let's put a blooper there and see if that sort of encourages the player to head to deal with the guys. No. No, not really. No, that's not good. It's definitely fun to do aerial combat with the spikes. You know, if this was a clear condition level, and the clear condition was kill all the spikes, that would be pretty good, I think. I think that actually would be a surprisingly cool level, but that's not what we're going for in this case. So, you know, how then do we encourage the player to deal with them? Well, if they had, like, a fire clown car, you would be, but then that would make it so that everything else was trivial. You know? Eh. How about some spinies? Flying spinies. Haven't used those yet in the Super World, surprisingly. They're kind of a weird thing, the flying spinies, you know, with their fucking weird... Their fucking, like, weird spike projectiles. Avoiding those is tricky. These guys would provide a temporary ceiling, since they would fuck off, like, for too long. Maybe not really fast enough. And also, that's... The low ceiling here, while it's necessary to force the player into dealing with the spikes, presents problems with constraining the space too much, such that you know, hard to fight them. What else can constrain the player? On-off wall. No, that basically has the same problems. Saws. That's even worse. That's more difficult than a solid wall. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I have to think about this. And give this some thoughts. How exactly is the level going to proceed from there?
Here I go!
I want to do a little bit... Let's, I'm going to do a quick, I'm gonna see how long exactly we've made this level. See exactly how much of the first half this constitutes. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like, you know, 15-20 seconds worth. You know, which is a good amount. Actually, no, this is... we're already at 10 seconds here. Pretty early. 15, yeah. This is like... This is like 30 seconds worth. Holy shit. We honestly don't need that much more for this first half. Like, a short flight would do the trick, I think. A short flight here. Which means... Hell, man, we could... This first section could, like, end, like, relatively quick here. You know, we could be... Also, I guess the other thing we have to consider is that, like, if we're 30 seconds in, it might be time for a power-up. You know what? That's it. That's it. We got it. That's what we needed. We need to have a power-up here behind the guys such that, engaging with them means you get the power-up. Brilliant! Oh, that's perfect! That's 100% the solution. Okay. And move this guy to be like, here. Here. And, yeah, we'll direct the player in this direction. And, after a fashion, it'll, like, constrain in. But only after a fashion. I believe that the blue should always be on the bottom, actually. In cases where they're going vertical like this. Blue ought to be on the bottom, because that's how it is on the, semi-solid ones. Brilliant. Let's give this a go. You'll fly up here. You can go under them. That's pretty fun, too, actually. You are fucked if you fall off, I'll say. You know what? I kind of like that. That makes this a little bit challenging, a little bit fun. A little bit, like, daring. And this is World 8. This should be a little bit challenging. Well, we have the first flying screen. I think that's a little bit of a simple screen, but sometimes a screen ought to be simple. You know, it's just a shaft and, some saws. In fact, I kind of think this saw is a little bit of overkill, but it's probably good just for, theming purposes to, like, keep those, there. And also, we need the open space for, fighting these guys. So that you can have a nice little fight with these guys without being, like, too bothered by, saw blades. You know, this is the first aerial fight you're having in this level with these guys, so it's pretty important that it's not, like, you're not, like, too assailed. I'm gonna save. I want to like, end this. Do a little bit of, like... I'm gonna play some of my previous flying levels that I've made in this game, in particular, Mario Maker 2. And maybe some flying levels from other games, so as to think, and so as to start some processes as far as, like, how this section is going to be designed, and where exactly it goes. I will say, with the length of the on-foot part in this first half, this level turned out to be more on foot in this first half than I maybe initially anticipated, but I think I like it. I think it works very well, and is definitely, I think, going in the right direction. Anyway, the main one to look at is the one that I showed, like, when we were looking at the second screen. Smokestack Attack. That's the other major flying level in the Super World, though there is also a boss fight in World 3 that involves a clown car. Now, a little different, it's a boss fight. No. In this case, level was the other way. Started with an on foot, went to flying later. I also do think, you know, with the way this is this has like gone, maybe I should consider having like the very end of the level end with a flying sequence as well. I was originally considering that like it should just be entirely the flying constraint of the first half, but I bet a flying part in the second part, in the second section, would really be exciting. Oh, this level's really good too. With how many good levels this Superworld has, the challenge is like making them all distinctly good in their own ways, and also, you know, not too much overlap, but also like a good standard level of quality. So, in some cases here, you can see that we've had cases where the path forks a little bit, and you can fly one way and do a thing if you like. Or you can not, and not. I guess, hey, something I'm just noticing now, both of these levels are Super Mario World levels, and they're set in the clouds. Is the other level entirely in the clouds too? It is. But because the theming is entirely different as far as, like, this one has, like, smokestacks, as well as, like, these billowing clouds. It's, I think, well distinct enough where, the same theme is irrelevant. And, not really, important as a consideration. Not really something I'm worried about. Damn good. Other flying levels I've done in Mario Maker 2 would be... Usually, most of these have been, clown cars with the fire, because I do think that's more fun, generally. But... let's see now. Overcast Blast uses the Bullet Bill hat. That's different. That's not quite the same thing. There is a flying part in Zero G Refinery, but like a small part, but fuck it, let's play it anyway. Maybe I'll think a thing or two about a level that has just a little bit of flight as a treat. There is also a cloud flying level in a level with some cloud flights in World 5 of the Super World. Igneous 500 is that level's name. Sort of like Indy 500, you get it? Igneous? It's a volcano level, and also a racetrack. Anyway, could look at that as well, but I don't know if it's really super relevant. It's different sort of flying altogether. A different sort of flying altogether. Different if there's only one person, I suppose. It's a completely different kind of flying. That's the line. Anyway. The flying part of this level is coming up in a second. This level is also a cape level. Oh, right, it wasn't a clown car, it was a cloud. That's right. I forgot which kind of flying it was in this level. I guess then the, like, actual clown car usage in my level output is just mostly in 3 or 4 levels. Hey, that's about right, you know. Not every... The clown car is best used sparingly, perhaps. The other one is this one, the Theme of Dreams. Which is Super Mario Bros. 3, to, you know, break a trend here. This one is also vertical level, but it's a descent instead of an ascent. And it's upside down as like a twist. And then you fall and land in the thing, and then you're flying a clown car down a shaft vertically and shooting guys as you go. I suppose this is a good example of a level that is just, at its heart, a vertical shaft. But, you know, engaging with the enemies is something that's worth doing and, like, fun. You know, and despite the geometry of a lot of the level just being like, here is a shaft, it's not a problem because it's a pretty cool fucking shaft. You know, it has some theming, and also, well, also it's upside down, so you got that going for you. You have to pay attention to that. You can't exactly be like, looking away. This part's inspired by, Vulture Culture? No, yeah, Vulture Culture. The end of Vulture Culture, I think. No, is the end of the rope level, actually. In World 3 of DKC 3, or DKC 1. I forget. Very nice. I don't know if I actually have used the regular clown car in a level in Super Mario Maker 2. I think I've always used the other one. What are some other levels that have flying in them? No, none of these. Or none of these have, like, the same type of flying. I guess that's pretty much it as far as, like, levels with clown cars in them. Huh. Yeah, I just... Looking over it, I don't think I've ever used the, I don't think I've used the regular-ass clown car before in Mario Maker 2. Used it a couple times in Mario Maker 1, which I guess we could have a look at. Why not? We haven't gone super long tonight. Let's do that. Fuck it. Why not? Let me grab my, Then again, did I not already show these? I probably already showed these at, like, the first Ripsaw Rainbow stream, didn't I? Probably already showed them. Still, it's always good to replay levels and, you know, think about them. And think about what's good about them. Ugh. I'll say I also did have... There is also a boss fight in Pirate's Peak that is a clown car one, but, that's a little different. That's a little different. Boss fight, after all. Let's relax on this. You don't need to switch games. Tell you what, I think we're good to go for today. I'm happy with this progress. Maybe I could, like, pull up DKC or something and go through a couple flying levels or something and start to get some ideas for, like, how to approach this level after this point. But I'm pretty happy with how this has gone so far. You know, we have this whole section is just brand new, made live during this stream, and I think this section is pretty much how this will end up in the final level, and I think it's a damn good start to the level. You know, it's well themed, it sets things up, it's has some nice little sections and some nice challenge and flavor. Which is pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Let's do one final run through, and then I'll send you out. This part was, of course, built before the stream started, but I think it was very important to, like, figuring out how these saws were going to be used, and establishing the pipes, the way that the pipe rainbows was going to look, and we're going to be, like, themed, and, like, we're going to be, like, managed. Beautiful. That is just beautiful. And you know what? We'll add one more thing here. Some coins that are, like, going like this. Coins like this. And, maybe even, like, one... Nah, like that. That's good. We'll add some coins, like, here. And, there'll probably be, like, more pipes here to, like, make it, like, more of a transition. I don't know. Anyway, I'm really happy with this. I think it's turned out quite well. It is shaping up to be a level. I will say, I think that this first half is maybe halfway done. So the level, overall now, is a quarter done. A quarter done, and that's not even including, like, parts of the second half, which I already have a pretty, like, firm idea about. Like, I know there's gonna be this part here, where you're gonna jump over these guys and, have to do some stuff here. These will probably be on rails, of course, you know, in line with how we know this will work now. You know, originally, the rails were not part of it, but they ought to be now that we know that that doing this rail stuff is very cool. I feel like the 10 coin isn't as good, though, considering that there's been better 10 coins already in the level.
Here I go.
Make this one higher, and yeah.
Here I go.
Anyway. Ooh, there we go. And you can also go under pretty easily. That'll be a nice little section. Yeah, go ahead and put that... Yeah, put that 10 coin back there. That 10 coin's pretty good. And that can also be accessed by just, you know, like, going under and jumping. Like that. Which is fine, you know, hey. Maybe make that a little bit more dangerous by adding one extra saw, like, here-ish.
Here I
That is going to be pretty dangerous, I'll say. Fairly dangerous. Okay. Well, I think that's gonna do it. I'm liking this progress a whole lot. I'm very happy with it. And I think within, like, an hour and a half and change, hour 40, roundabouts. Well, actually, you know what? There was, like, 10 minutes of false start there because my microphone wasn't working for, like, when I first started. I restarted the recording of the VOD, so that's not going to be in the, VOD that goes up on YouTube in 24 hours. But, you know, for an hour and a half of making, I think I have made some pretty damn good progress, and definitely the most progress that has been made in this level in, like, literally, 2 months. In, like, literally 2 months. In this 90-minute span, which, you know, that's amazing. That's great. Let me go ahead and pull up the schedule. I'll be back on Monday for StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, continuing where we left off there. Bernie Sanders is doing a stream. That'd be weird to raid Bernie Sanders. I love Bernie Sanders, but I don't know what he's even talking about. There's no Democratic. Well, I guess there's primaries. I guess local candidates and stuff, and like governors and stuff are gonna primary, even if the president isn't going to. A Democrat is not gonna win my county probably, so I probably don't have to think that much about it or really worry about who's running locally. Anyway, whatever. Talking about politics more. Politics. Yeah. I am not ready to think about that again. I want it to be a couple more years. And then a couple more years after that, maybe. I don't know. There's actually a lot of people streaming right now. Guess it's popular to stream in the morning. Spaceman Ghost, Shoujo. We'll raid Shoujo. What the fuck? Shoujo, big Mario ROM hack streamer, also does Mario Maker stuff on occasion. Participated in like some of the blind races at SGDQ. She's pretty cool. Let's do that. That sounds like a good raid. I'm gonna pull it up on my my phone here. The stream, you know, so I can see the raid go in. Let me pull that up. Very nice, folks. Grab my mouse. Yep. Well, folks, I will see y'all on Monday for StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. And then after that will be a Thursday stream of some kind. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that sometime in the next 5-6 days. I'll figure something out. Maybe we'll do a randomizer thing. I kind of feel like a good DK64 randomizer with like a new set of rules would be pretty dope. Pretty dope. But I don't know. We'll figure that out in the future. I'll see y'all on Monday for StarCraft. And hey, if you like viewer levels, those are always on Fridays, as you can clearly read over there. StarCraft, Monday, we're doing the Protoss mini campaign and the Wings of Liberty campaign first and foremost, and then we'll probably do more after that. It's a long game, and I want to get through it in like 3 or 4 streams. I'll see you then. Bye, folks. Oh, I need to get the fucking stop thing. Bye, folks.